a video on making some pork meatballs. Also, while I tidy up the kitchen at the same time. I'm getting distracted. So, we went to a restaurant, and it was a really good restaurant, and they had on salami for a starter, and it was particularly very good, and it had fennel in it, and it kind of got me thinking about meatballs and how I always cook meatballs like in the Italian style, so like with cheese in, with bread, with pork, and then grilled or fried, and then cooked slowly in a tomato sauce. And I was kind of thinking, what happens if we take the mixture, basically like the inside of a pork pie, and roll that into balls and poach it in a bacon stroke ham stock? How would that turn out? So kind of almost kind of deconstructing a pork pie. We're not having the pastry, but we're just having the meat centre and then the jelly around the outside. How would that be? I was kind of quite curious, and then because I was thinking about those salamis, I was kind of fennel in. I was kind of thinking, oh, I've got some fennel seeds. We could put some fennel seeds in. So this is what we're going to do. And I haven't got it. Yes, I have got it out. I have got my mincer out. So I bought some just cheap because we're only playing around, and I kind of think if we're only playing around, we'll just buy the cheap stuff. So I've just bought some cheap back bacon from Lidl. So there's 300 grams each of the cheap bacon. They're not selling cooking bacon at the moment. I don't know why, otherwise I would have bought cooking bacon. So we bought cheap back bacon because it's got a nice bit of fat on it. And then I bought some pork shoulders, which are cheap and fatty because I want fatty, and there's 700 grams of that. So basically half pork shoulder, half bacon, and then it'll keep nice and pink in colour. And then mincing wise, we've got 3 blades on the mincer, and I think we're going to use that one. That one's going to be too fine. That one might be too coarse. I think that one will be okay. So we're going to chop them up, cut them through the mincer, add a bit of fennel seeds. We're not going to put any salt in because there'll be salt in the bacon. We might put a bit of pepper in. Probably will put a bit of black pepper in, and then roll them into balls. Poach them in some honey bacony stock. So I was cooking some bacon for some cheap bacon for some soup at work. So this is the bacon stock. Let's just have a look at this while we're here. I want it to kind of be quite gelatinous, like the inside of a pork pie. So that's kind of quite watery, is that? That doesn't matter, we can poach it in that, and then I'm going to set it in a jar. Tastes nice. Ooh, that's delicious, is that? And then this was something from, I was rendering the fat out of some ham and bacon skin, and this is the stock. Using different spoon. This is the stock from that. So I've taken the fat off it, and then we're left with a jelly underneath. So that jelly's nice and thick. So that might be the jelly. No, there's not so much jelly in there. I might just have to oh, there's a little bit of jelly in there. We might have to melt that and reset it, and then kind of get some solid in there. But there is a little bit of jelly there, so I'll have a bit of faff around with that to kind of extract that jelly out. What's the jelly taste like? It's nice. Nice as that. I haven't got any gelatin in the house, so we might just have to kind of faff around. But we'll poach in that, and then we'll kind of see how we go. So we'll mince some stuff, we'll mix some stuff, we'll form some balls, we'll poach some stuff, and we're back at odd parts of the video. Right, we have minced. I have put black pepper in, and then about a teaspoon of fennel seeds. We'll just keep that container because we'll put the meatball in that. We'll just get rid of that bit of whatever that is. So, no salt, and then just mix up. I put some pork through and then put some bacon through when I was mincing, so it's kind of mixed-ish already. bother about overworking it or anything like that. I just want it mixed all the way through. I suppose I really should have put the pepper and the fennel seeds through when I was mincing it, but I live and learn, don't we? And that stock from the rendering down, I don't know if that's going to be any use. We'll see. So, and then we just need to decide on what size of meatballs. I was thinking about preserving some of these in a jar. So maybe 2 jars worth. So we kind of need to make them small enough that they're going to fit in the jar. So I think, what's that? Smaller than a golf ball. That ping pong ball size. They will shrink when they cook. And then I was thinking that they will. We're poaching them gently, but they will release some gelatin from the meat and the fat into the cooking liquid as they cook, and then so it will become a little bit more gelatinous. But I kind of quite like that. As a child, a big lump of fat. Not to worry, that can go in the centre. As a child, I didn't like the jelly part of the pork pie, but it's one of those things. As you get a bit older, you like different things. Still not taken on tripe, but I always liked things like liver and kidney, but just not the jelly in a pork pie. So we're kind of doing these. We'll see how many we get. We know what the weight is, don't we? It's like 1,300 grams worth of meat, so we'll be able to get an idea of how many meatballs we get for that. But we're just going to put them, and we're going to put them in the fridge to set them up. I think we'll I don't know. No, we might just poach them straight away. Will there be enough? Yeah, they shouldn't just boil to bits, should they? They shouldn't just boil to bits. We're going to gently simmer them. See, this is why my videos get a little bit too long, because I never fully think my way through things, and generally the first time when I'm doing it is the first time I'm doing something. So when you do it a second time, you know exactly what you're doing, so you can be concise and quick. But because if I'm doing a lot of things for the first time, generally working things out as I go, so my videos tend to be a little bit too long. But in all honesty, I can't work out the YouTube algorithm, and I don't think there's any real rhyme or reason to it. I have a theory. So you can pay to promote videos on YouTube, and I think what YouTube really wants you to do is to think to yourself, I'm not getting anywhere with these videos, so I'm going to pay to promote them, and then people get addicted to paid promoting their own videos to get more views. The idea isn't really, I'm not that bothered about. I'm curious about views, but it's not the real reason why I kind of do things. I just kind of think if I'm faffing around with something, I might as well make a video out of it, type of thing. So, and I think that's the reason why. And some videos do really well. Like I think I read listened to something they were talking about TikTok, and they said that what they sometimes do on TikTok is they pick someone and purposely make their video go viral, and then people have so they get like maybe 100,000 views or 200,000 views or 1 million views on a certain video, and then the next video doesn't get that same kind of amount. So the people then are constantly chasing the lots of views, and then they get people with the paying to promote the videos, as an extra revenue scheme. So I think that was just a little bit of a thought, but we'll carry on making these, and then I'm back when we're poaching. They should hold together when they cook. Yeah, we'll see. We won't do them. We'll do them in batches. We can poach 1 or 2, and then we'll see if they hold together, or if we need to put them in the fridge just to firm up. But there isn't anything like cheese or egg in them to set them as we're poaching them. So maybe they will just boiled to bits, but I'm not going to boil them. But you know what I mean, might as well just cook themselves to bits, unless the outside kind of sets first, and you cook the outside and then it keeps it together type of thing. But anyway, I'm waffling. Right, I will just add, so what you can do with meatballs is you can obviously weigh out the mixture. So decide what weight of meatball that you actually want, and then weigh each individual meatball to make sure it's the same. Or what you can do is you keep the original meatball that you want, and then to one side, so you keep it just there on board, and then you can kind of compare sizes. So we've not done too bad. These here were some of the latter ones, and they're still roughly the same kind of size. So the problem is when you do a lot of things. So this is probably like quite an old school way of doing things. But just to, if you're chopping potatoes for roast potatoes, or you're making meatballs or any kind of anything, slowly over time the size of something changes. You make them bigger, you make them smaller, and you kind of want things to be uniform, so they cook in the same way, and you portion size and all that kind of stuff. So just to keep one roast potato or one meatball that you want the right size of, just in a place where you can see it, so you can compare, so you can kind of go, oh well, it's all right, it's a little bit bigger, but that's okay, it's within the bounds of what we want them to be. Same with lots of things. So I suppose same if you were filling individual tart cases with custard as well, you would keep the first one by the side so you could see how much custard you were putting into the tart case. But anyway, so we'll bring some stock up to poaching temperature, and then we'll poach some and we'll see how they go. Alright, we're up to poaching temperature. I am not going to do too many at once. We'll just drop a few in, see how we go. I might take a batch of, maybe like a batch of 3 or 4. Oh, we can't count how many we've made, have we? We're holding together so far, and I think as long as we do it gently, they will be okay. So, where's that? 1, 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12. How many in here? 6, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 32. So a batch of 12 is fine. So gently poach those in that liquid. We've got that pan on the back. We'll pour it into something and see if we can skim off the sediment and fat from the top of that, and if there's some nice thick juicy jelly at the bottom, but probably needs to set, so it might not work as well. But anyway, we'll see how we go. Poach these, we'll see how long they take. Hopefully they'll stay together, won't they? Once we cook the outside, that'll form like a protective barrier, won't it? Yes, I'm sure. Right, so they have held together as they've been cooking. They've been in for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, gently poaching. I'm not going to take them that much cooking. So let's cut into one. I've got a little bit of snotty stuff coming out of them, but they're still nice and pink. That's alright. Not as smooth as a pork pie in the centre, but how do they taste? I'm trying to talk with a mouthful. I'll be something hot in there. They're lovely and tender, and that fennel really works as well. So I'm going to cook more in batches. We're going to pull those out, cook the next batch, and then we'll jar some up. That stock will have gone super flavoured, and I will have more gelatin in because of the gelatin coming out of the meat and the fat, and then we'll use that to put it in some jars and kind of preserve them, and then some we'll just have in a bowl, and we'll pour some of the cooking juice over the top of it, and then kind of set that overnight, and then we're kind of see what it's like in the morning. I'm kind of thinking jelly deal type of thing, but not a jelly deal, because jelly deals aren't particularly very nice. Well, maybe they are. Maybe I should give them another go. I just remember going to the seaside once and my dad having some jelly deals and watching him eat them. I thought it was just it was just horrific in eating these jelly deals. But anyway, we're back when we're jarring them up. So, they're cold now because I've been swimming. I couldn't be bothered doing it before I went swimming. Right, so they're cold now. Because I've been swimming and I couldn't be bothered doing it before I went swimming. So let's just cut into that and see. It's alright, isn't it? It's alright. How does it taste cold? A little bit like a pot pie. A little bit like a pot pie. So, I've heated the stock up. Let's not burn myself. Gently pull the stock over these. Like that. Do the same with this one. Good then to put it through a cloth, this stock actually. And then pull the stock over that one. Just to, we can use those, we can test those tomorrow morning. This will be with the stock over them. Have I put too many in that one? Let's just cram that one under there. There. Put the clean lids. Like that. Get that out of the way. And then into a pan of water, and then we'll sterilise those. I'll top a bit more water, but it'll be fine for the moment. So, set that overnight in the stock, and then we'll see what it's like in the morning. Eat the rest of that, sterilise those, and we'll see how it all turns out. So it's not set just quite as well as I would have liked. I'll just have to be, if I do it again, just have to be a little bit more careful about that. But how does it taste when it's cold in the jelly? That's what I'm curious about. Nice or not? I've already thought about what I would use them for, and I've thought of something that we might be able to do, like a cheap meal. I'm trying to think, but I'll have a go at that sometime. But it's worked. It's worked. I think it'd be something nice just to have it in the cupboard to put in a dish at some stage, instead of having to buy something. So, out of curiosity, it's a success. I just would have liked that jelly just to be a little bit thick, more set. But not to worry. Not to worry. Is it a success? A little bit, yeah.